Enjoy yourself. Don't work too hard. Throw yourself into a creative project. Maybe have a little bit of romance. Good advice if you can take it. And that's everything after that is just unpacking with your forecast for the week of November 18th, 2019. I'm Armand Diaz, giving you the straight dope, or the crooked dope as it is, with this particular week. It's not a very easy week to summarize in a month that is very hard to talk about because it is a very murky month, the murky month of November. So we have Mercury turning direct on Wednesday this week. So you think, okay, well, that Mercury retrograde is over. Good, we can start signing contracts, buying tech stuff. We can hope for communication to flow a little bit better, and so on and so forth. Nothing of the kind. Nothing of the kind. First of all, it is right around the stations, right around, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that we're tending to see the more dramatic results of Mercury retrograde, although who needs more drama than we've had with this Mercury retrograde? There have been some really great things. You know, I have, as I said last week, I've connected with people from the past, old friends, old bandmates. Old bandmates have reemerged after sometimes a year or two. Interesting creative stuff and all of that. There's been it's been a nice fun time for socialization too. So get socialization, sort of a serious word. It's been a good time for socializing, getting out and all of that. But trying to get work done, oof. You know, interestingly, it doesn't really affect client work for me. It doesn't really affect, doing astrological consultations and things. But I am president of NCGR, the astrology organization, and doing anything over the last month has been impossible. People just go missing. It's like a slog to do anything. You should join NCGR, by the way, but not just yet because our website isn't up and working to take members. But I digress. It's not all about me. It's not all about me. But those types of things are what I'm hearing from everybody. You know, you try to get stuff done at work, you try to get things moving, and you just can't. This Mercury retrograde is really, really kind of pernicious in its effect. It's typical when Mercury retrogrades in a water sign, and especially so, I think, when it's in Scorpio. So it's been kind of a tough time to get things moving. I know, you're not supposed to get things moving with Mercury retrograde. It's, all of that type of thing. But, try to put your whole business, work life, and all of those things that are mercurial, try to put them on hold for 4 to 6 weeks and see what happens. That would be a problem too. But lots of stuff happening. Mercury going direct this week is going to eventually help when Mercury gets up to speed in about a week. It's out of his shadow in about 2 weeks. So we got a little time there before things really start moving forward again. I would look for Mercury's entry into Sagittarius to be kind of the good point. But you know what happens? No sooner does Mercury get moving again than Neptune stations early next week to go direct. And so we leave the mercurial crossed wires for the Neptunian fog. November is a murky month. And that's why your advice is to back off from things as much as you possibly can, accept frustrations as much as you can. Creative projects have a real green light at this particular point in time, so that's a great thing. And again, romance, your love life may take a little bit of a upward spin. Venus, the planet of love and relationship, values, aesthetics, quite a bit to do with creativity, is out of bounds. That is past the limit that the sun ever goes in terms of latitude. And planets out of bounds tend to have a lot of energy, and we tend to get sort of extremes. And with Venus in Sagittarius, we can expect some real extremes. Wait till I get to the weekend. Okay, so the week starts off with the moon in Leo on Monday. It's a good energy that will continue through Monday, fairly into the day, continue into Tuesday, actually. It is the last quarter moon, and the last quarter moon is a time of assessment and evaluation. But with Venus out of bounds, it's not a very good time to assess and evaluate things. It's certainly a very, very poor time for appraisals. It's especially a poor time if you would like the number to come in low. So if you're, if you're buying a home, it's liable to appraise high. If you're bargaining for a car, it's liable to appear to be valued above what it is. So it's a very poor time for that kind of stuff. But in general, assessment is likely to be off with Mercury stationing a day afterwards. So, it is a time for evaluating, but not for businessy work type of stuff. It could be very much a time to evaluate where your personal relationships are. It could be a time to evaluate where your creative projects are. That sort of stuff is quite good Monday and Tuesday. Leo moon trying to Venus and Jupiter. There's still a fair amount of energy in the moon. We're not at the complete dead end of the lunar cycle yet. So Monday and Tuesday, good for personal stuff, good for creative stuff, not so good for business stuff, but that's just true of the week and the month. Now we get into Wednesday and we have Mercury station. So all bets are off. The moon is in Virgo. It's making relatively easy aspects. You would otherwise hope that things would be fine. Mercury stationing to go direct, and there's just no, it's just, everything is just nuts. Enjoy yourself, have a good time, throw yourself into a creative project. You get the idea. All right, we get past midweek there. On the 20th, we have Mercury stationing, and then on Thursday, more or less the same kind of energy. Thursday, Friday. Friday, the sun moves out of Scorpio into Sagittarius. That's a nice shift for us. I think we've been through enough of Scorpio season. As I said, someplace around halfway through Libra, we shifted into Scorpio mode. And while, Mercury's still keeping us back there for a while, the shift of the sun into Sagittarius gives us a little bit more of that upbeat feel. It suggests very much this kind of moving into the holiday season. It's a fire sign for most of us in the for those of us in the northern hemisphere, the days are short and dark. And so we have to bring our own light to things. And that's what Sagittarius does. That's the upbeat kind of feel of having lights around it. It's dark outside, but we're bringing our own light to things. That's a nice little shift for us to be undergoing at this particular time. So the sun gets into Sagittarius. We have the Libra moon coming through a good, the end of the week into the weekend. Libra moon's going to do the thing it always does. It's going to square Saturn and Pluto, and the scales want to keep balance and things get tipped over and stuff like that. Now, the weekend has some fascinating energy. What a shame that the moon is waning so much, because that would otherwise be a really, really, upbeat, energetic time. But maybe it's good that the moon is waning into the new moon at this particular time, because it might be really hard to handle if it was, let's say, full moon energy. We have two big aspects. First of all, we have Mars. Mars moves into Scorpio on 19th. That would be Tuesday. Mars moves into his home sign of Scorpio. In Scorpio, Mars plays defense. Mars is always the warrior, but in his home sign of Scorpio, he's playing defense. There is a protectiveness about it, a little bit of a biting kind of energy. Scorpions, the tail, the stinger. But Mars is certainly going to be happier in Scorpio than he was in Libra. Mars doesn't like playing by the rules all that much, and Libra is all about the rules. So Mars is in Scorpio, and the first thing that he does in terms of a major aspect is to oppose on the 24th. He opposes Uranus. So this is on the weekend. This is weekend energy here. And the way that's going to go is the likely way that this is going to go is that there's going to be a lot of impatience. This is a kind of gotta act kind of thing. But Scorpio Mars has that reserve and that protectiveness, that hesitation, that waiting for the right moment kind of energy. And Uranus in Taurus is, banging, hitting that point. So what you're going to see is a certain amount of volatility in the collective. You're going to see a certain amount of volatility in your interactions with folks. Indeed, I say it every so often, but it's usually a Mars-Uranus or Mars-Pluto aspect. Watch out for things like road rage and little tiny things just sort of setting people off. It's a great time for directed action, and if there's something that you need to do or want to do and you're sure about it, not like it seems like it might be a good idea in the moment, but if you're sure about it, then it would be a good time to act. But it's not all about Mars and Uranus, because Venus meets with Jupiter, right? So this colors the weekend. This colors Saturday and Sunday for sure. And although the moon is in Scorpio, we have this very Sagittarian energy. Now, Venus and Jupiter get along very well. They get along very well. And in Jupiter's home sign, he's hosting Venus in his home sign very, very well. This is a really, really sweet, lovely kind of combination. In fact, the main problem that we have with Venus and Jupiter in this type of configuration is that you can have too much of a good thing, a little too much optimism, a little too much buoyancy. I mean, it's that real take a leap of faith thing. It's great for creative projects. It's wonderful for creative projects. It is wonderful for romantic endeavors. That's sort of like, I'm not sure, should I, shouldn't I, should we, shouldn't we? It's like let's do it. It's that leap of faith. It's that, wow, we can do it kind of sense of things. Is it Saturnian long-term realistic? I don't know, but it could be. That's another question. But you got to have those moments. You got to have that excitement, whether it's playing a song, or whether it is painting a picture, or whether it is going on a date, or whatever you think is a good way to celebrate. You need to have those moments of excitement and enthusiasm. Otherwise, there is nothing to build on for the long term. So take it and go with it. Go with it. That Mars-Uranus energy, the Mars-Uranus energy together with the Venus-Jupiter energy, certainly you could get a sexual relationship going if that's been a question, or you don't have to get anything going. Just have a good time. But it could be used in many, many different ways, in many, many different areas of life, or along different avenues for getting the energy to have a positive expression. There's a lot of potential in this. There really, really is. The thing is that you should, take sensible chances, I suppose would be the way to say. If you feel a little too much emotional reactivity coming up, then you might want to just pause for a second. But if it feels good, probably do it. Just say do it. But if it feels good, do it. All right. I told you at the very beginning, 15 seconds in, I said that's all you really need to know, and everything else is just unpacking. So to recap, enjoy yourself. Don't push too hard with work stuff. Accept a certain amount of frustration. Throw yourself into a creative project and perhaps romance. And don't fool yourself into thinking that because Mercury is technically speaking going direct, he is all our mercurial problems are over with. If only.